Despite everything that the previous Emperor Clement achieved, what he is likely most proud of is his one singular son amongst his 10 plus children, Theodosius IV, who now comes to power of the entire Byzantine Empire as just a child. Clement's brother Daniel is unhappy. He was his brother's heir for the longest time, and seeing his brother have no male heirs, assumed it would be him who would take over next. Daniel's now in the unique position of holding lands inside the Byzantine Empire, but acting independently, and who knows what the boy emperor will do next. Catholicism is also on its last legs. Clement took control of Rome and the Papacy and mended the Great Schism, citing Orthodox as the one true Christian faith. Theodosius may take it one step further and dismantle the Papacy entirely. Massive thank you to all of you for getting this channel to 1,000 subscribers as well. That is absolutely incredible. I am really looking forward to driving forward with this series and also starting some new ones in the future. This episode is also quite a different one. The youngest character we've ever played in this series, and for the first time we get a chance to really sculpt out who we want this next emperor to be. The first thing on the agenda today is to deal with our uncle Strategos Daniel the Girthy. The issue is that he actually ended up inheriting the Empire of Carpathia as well as Italia. Now he usurped those off of him and that wasn't an issue. The problem now, however, is that he became independent. So his actual theme lands over here are independent, and it seems as though technically, because he inherited the Empire of Italia, he also picked up Roma and Tivoli, and we cannot have that. Now, rather than go to war with him, he will actually accept vassalization, likely knows that he can't survive on his own inside of our realm, so we will offer vassalage, and then we'll try and find a way to remove him from power and get these lands back for ourselves. Once that's done, we'll then be able to dismantle the Papacy. This will be quite nice, as on top of the Papacy just being fully destroyed, Pope Hadrianus himself will convert to Orthodoxy, and Catholicism's fervor will decrease by 100, and they will lose their spiritual head of faith. This will be quite nice. It'll weaken a lot of the remaining Catholics, but also it will stop any sort of strange holy wars or crusades happening called by the Pope against us, since we're now technically hostile with Catholics. Also, I have heard you all loud and clear. We are going to be continuing this series in order for us to dismantle the German pretenders. We have to completely control the region of Italia, which we basically have. We need Luxembourg, Brabant, Jülich, Upper Lotharingia, and Lower Lotharingia, which realistically are these sort of duchies over here. So we'll need to drive our way across there and pick those up. Now, the one caveat here is that I believe for us to actually dismantle German pretenders as a decision, the HRE actually has to be formed. So if they break apart before then, it may lock us out of taking that decision. But either way, we know what we need, so we'll drive forward and try and take these lands for ourselves. Then we have the Restore Roman Empire. To do that, we need Latium and Croatia. Latium we obviously have, that's what Daniel holds, we're about to revoke it. And Croatia are just these lands over here, which we already have about 50% of. For our council, we are absolutely going to be putting some of the kings and queens that we've made on the council. We want to keep these nice and happy so we can have a nice peaceful reign until we are old enough to actually start making some changes. What's very nice as well as we look through our different subjects is that rather than having a negative debuff of our predecessor, Clement's legacy is actually standing to us. We are getting plus 25 with all of our subjects because they had such a positive opinion of Clement. This will decay year over year, but should help us a lot in the beginning. So Daniel has accepted his vassalization. He is now back within the realm. This does pose some interesting questions though. Firstly, unlike everybody else who just kind of loves us and will give us what we want, he will absolutely not accept his primary theme being revoked, and not even Latium that we actually have a pressed claim on. Only 17% there. Now, what we could do is retire him, try and get somebody we prefer in control of these titles and then revoke it off of them. We're going to have to keep a very close eye on Daniel, at least while he is alive. He is a murderer. Now, he is also infirm, so it'll be difficult for him to get anything done, but he is somewhat the primary challenge to our reign at the moment. If anybody has a claim stronger than us, it could be him. and because he's now back in the realm, he's back to being our primary heir, so it's in his interest to do us harm. So what I've done is I've used my influence to make it such that my mother will inherit the theme of Latium, and Trianios here will pick up the actual theme itself. So we're going to retire Daniel from power, keep it within House Angelos, but Daniel should be fairly weakened by this. He'll also definitely hate us, so I want to keep a very close eye on him. Oh, god damn it. Okay, so I was expecting his realm to split, my mother to get half and Trianios to get half, but instead it's worked out the same way. Trianios now holds the exact lands that Daniel did, including Rome, but I can still create the actual Duchy of Latium. I'm going to create this anyway, so at least that I hold the title. God damn it, this is annoying. Okay, I'm going to have my spy master try and find secrets on this new man who I've put into control. The problem is, if I could just actually have him revoke Roma to me, he probably wouldn't have an issue. But the problem is, only his primary title can be revoked. So the issue is that Rome is being considered under the primary title of his theme. Pretty smart play by him there. I still have no idea how it happened. The game was even showing me the two different titles and how they would be inherited, but either way, we'll deal with it. It'll just take us a bit of time. We're in no crazy rush to get the lands back, really, because even if we go to war and take Croatia, we have to be a legendary figure in terms of prestige to restore the Roman Empire. So we're going to have to age a bit first anyway. Now, I actually thought that Latium was the last piece we needed to control the region of Italia, but Corsica is also included in that. So we may also want to go to war with them. The good news is they have broken away from the Holy Roman Empire, so this should be a relatively easy war. There's no major concern for me in terms of actually winning wars. I do just want to be careful when I have all my troops raised that we don't end up in a scenario where we are considered weak at a certain point and then a bunch of factions all fire at once. That's generally the worry when we are the size that we are. We have a massive army, but if we for some reason lose a battle or we're at like half of our troop strength or something, that's when all of the... Oh, 100% straight away. I was going to say that's when all of the factions can fire at once. It can be a nightmare, but that's Corsica back under control. Now we have everything we need to dismantle the papacy, but once again I am blocked from making the decision for the simple reason that I am a child. Okay, the good news is that Trianios here finally actually gave some vassals away in Rome and Tivoli, so we could just retract these vassals. He will accept that, and then we'll hold them directly. There we go. Now there are just counts holding Rome. They are recently given this land, so we can't revoke it, but in 1 year we can take these lands back, and we will be back in the same position that Clement was. And that shouldn't be an issue going forward with the empire splitting away and everything. Once we actually restore Rome, everything will become more consolidated. Now, I'm also going to have my mother and regent become my guardian. Is a little bit risky, but we're sort of assuming she won't try and kill her own son. I will send myself to university. I did pay for this before, but I think that was attached to Clement while he was actually his guardian. But I want to make sure I have a guardian while I'm growing up, so this I think will work, and 1500 gold is nothing to us at this stage. Well, it's not nothing, but we can get it back pretty quickly. Now, my sister has given birth to a son. This is actually Antha, who Clement married off matrilineally. So my nephew here is going to be House Angelos, which is fantastic to see. I think it's only right that the next male born after Clement's death is named after him. So Clement it is. May you grow strong and wise. Now, we have our tutor here. We could put them on Teach Court, where the liege and other court position holders may gain skills or traits every month. Or do I put them on Educate Children, where children at court have a chance to have one of their skills increased by 1 or 2 every year? Technically, I'm a child. I think we'll do Educate Children for now. I assume I'll be included in that. And then later on, we'll do Teach Court. What is quite nice as well is that we can negotiate some alliances with some of the kings and queens that we've made, because they're all House Angelos and they will accept. Now, Daniel seems to be retiring happily over in Rome. He doesn't actually hate us as much as he thought he would. He does have almost minus 100 from usurp my title, deposed from office, and being a title claimant. But we have so many other buffs going for us at the moment that he's only at minus 13. Educating children at court is working. My learning is just increased by 2. That's amazing. You are my tutor, but you are actually the wrong religion. If you wouldn't just mind converting over there, that'd be great. Thank you very much. I'm also going to keep an eye on our court and likely just actually dismiss people that we're not really using a huge amount, because every now and then in here there's some incredible Varangian guard and whatnot that we can invite, but I will dismiss. For example, Gar McMain here. Like, you are a drunkard, flagellant, Catholic and Gaelic. I don't really know why you're in my court, to be honest. Lots more people willing to accept vassalization. Whereabouts is this? Oh, it's some land broken free in Russia. Absolutely welcome in. Now, since I am a child, there's not an insane amount that I can really do at the moment. We may go for some wars here and there. I would actually like to pick up, where is it, Empire titles, West Slavia here. That would be quite nice as well. Just another empire under our belts. When we restore Rome, all of our lands are just de jure. We don't have to worry about them anymore, or other empire titles possibly slipping into being inherited by somebody else and whatnot. So we'll keep an eye on that, but I'm going to go through my vassals once again. I've been doing it sort of here and there, but I want to make sure that they're the right culture, the right religion, have the right admin type, and also have the right vassal directives. As soon as I become an adult, I do also want to start doing holy wars for kingdoms on cooldown inside the HRE. Pick up Bavaria, later on even Germany, for example. Try and get massive pieces of land off them early, because he did defend one, but there was a claimant faction war against the throne for the HRE to put an Orthodox man in control. Now, theoretically, that would be good for us, but because we want to dismantle the HRE, if an Orthodox person comes into power, we're not going to be able to do holy wars anymore, which will slow us down tremendously. So the second we're an adult, we're going to start doing the actual legends on cooldown. So Protector of Orthodox Holy Site here, and we're going to use the Reassert the Holy mission to try and at least get 2 holy wars out of them and just take a massive chunk away from them. There we go. Enough time has passed that we now hold Rome itself again, as well as the surrounding lands. We're going to keep upgrading everything here. Russia is still somewhat in turmoil. It's fallen from grace a little bit. It seems like quite a few sort of random counties and duchies got their independence. But the good news is that they are back to being Orthodox. They were Catholic for a while, so that should help at least convert everything here over to Orthodox, which, if they break apart in the future, will make it a hell of a lot easier for us to just vassalize everything instantly. In other news, though, Galicia Volhynia here, who we're starting to kind of squeeze from top to bottom, is now a conqueror, which is non-ideal. It looks like our vassal of Poland is actually declaring war on them, though, which is great to see. Hopefully he doesn't get any bright ideas and try and start some expansions himself. We are somewhat going to compete with him as lands become free here. We might want to put a bit more attention up here to make sure that we don't just let them sort of steamroll through any open land, and make sure we actually take some for ourselves. I've been paying little to no attention to our land up in Scandinavia, and yet every time I check it, it seems to grow. Realistically, Russia is kind of the last domino here. I think if Russia was to fully break apart, we would pick up a lot of what is green up here. If we can convert some of this land down here to Orthodox, we will literally have a wall in between the eastern and western side of the map of just Orthodox, almost exactly straight down the middle. Something that I should have done earlier and should have been doing all this time but wasn't is actually hosting a funeral. Now, we don't necessarily need the stress loss or the legitimacy gain, but the piety gain and opinion will be nice. Plus, it's just the right thing to do. We will, of course, have a funeral for our father, Basilius Clement the Gracious. Of course, we will do extravagant ceremonials, nothing less for my father. We are getting a sermon by our head of faith. Listen to my words, children. Today I will tell you about God, heaven, hell, and even Satan himself. I can say my belief in God will never falter and gain the trait zealous, which could be quite nice. What was that about the divine right of kings and gain the trait ambitious? Or this Satan seems aspirational and gain the trait sadistic? Let's have a look at our character. All we really know at the moment is that we are curious, we have consecrated blood, born in the purple, and we are intelligent. Now, oh my god, look at our stats and we're only 9 years old. I think realistically, for a 7-year-old coming to power as emperor, ambitious makes the most sense. It's also a very, very nice trait for us. The only real debuff is the added stress gain, but we have so many things to help with stress, I think that'll be absolutely fine. So, what was that about the divine right of kings? Regent is now more powerful. My mother, although selfless, is swaying the scales of power towards herself. We're going to keep swinging the scales of power back here. We don't want our mother to get too powerful and start making some strange decisions. And we also want to be able to end the entrenched regency easily when we become of age. Something else I think makes sense for us to do is also do some learn language schemes. Just a lot of schemes that we tend not to do when we're busy being an actual adult, but since we're a child and kind of waiting for lots of things to open up for us anyway, may as well try and get as many sort of buffs as we possibly can. And if Russia breaks apart, speaking their language may help quite a bit. On top of that, our learning is almost 30 before we're even 10, so we should learn languages easily. That is the major benefit to becoming an emperor so young, is that I wasn't really sure how difficult it would be. Thankfully, Clement was loved so much and we had so many people in House Angelos in power that it seems to have been relatively calm. But the best part about taking power so young is that because we have decisions over the traits that we pick up, we're not going to just end up getting some horrific traits that we just sort of have to inherit down the line because we're inheriting at like 30 or 40. We basically have much more control over our character, and I think Theodosius here could end up being one of our best. His stats are already incredible for like a 40-year-old, and he's only 9. The Vassal divergence, small changes in dialect, slightly different customs. It was easy to miss at first. Over time, small changes led to large ones. Whether out of skillful manipulation or a genuine desire to lead his people into a new era, Lubomir has positioned himself as the leader of this new cultural awakening. What the hell is Vassal like? So it seems relatively similar to Greek anyway. They have picked up martial admiration and hit and run tactics, and they are going to be rather far ahead on innovations with how much we have driven Greek forward. The man who started it is a familial kinslayer and a murderer, but we will see how this situation develops. War has been declared on us, a northerner conquest of the Duchy of Prussia. We will manage things from here. We will stay at the funeral. My commanders will deal with this for me. I'm going to raise the men up in Prussia. Hopefully this time they actually just come directly to it, unlike before where they were going on northerner conquest all the way over here and shooting the sieges down over here. The funeral is beginning. It is now time to mourn. I can't help but wonder why we should get to hoard objects which rightfully belong to him. We're certainly not going to get rid of the Roman heritage legend. Statue of a woman has been in court since the beginning. Elena's regalia could go 700 piety up front or 180 for the Tales of Emperor Charles. Let's get rid of the regalia. I will likely end up going for illustrious artifacts in my inventory anyway, and 700 piety up front can't hurt. And also it's for our father, obviously. We're not going to make any moves to try and increase our legitimacy here. We're just going to speak a quiet prayer and gain another 50 piety. Here is the Northerner Conquest. They are in for what I like to call the Byzantine shock. Another hybrid culture, Egyptiot, has formed from the Greek and Egyptian cultures. What is this one like? Oh, it's very different. They have cultivated sophistication and palace politics. Everything else is brand new though. And they also speak Arabic instead of Greek. The culture head is the King of Egypt and another House Angelos man himself. What is this culture looking like? Oh, the whole thing immediately converts. Now, acceptance is at 100% currently, but it is going to decay over time. That's non-ideal. We may want to get a Greek back in control there and have him work to try and actually reconvert all of this. Or maybe not. To be honest, we are growing in such size now with so many different cultures. Working more on actual acceptance may make more sense. We could possibly even diverge our culture later. It's not a massive deal, but it is something we don't want to let spiral out of control. They're obviously now growing in size and in prestige. They're starting to just form some of these hybrid cultures themselves. Now, we've lost just under 500 men to kill 5,000 Vikings. Works for me. There we go. That is the Northerner Conquest dealt with. The funeral is over. Dust to dust. It was a beautiful funeral. We have gained 500 piety and lost some more stress, and Clement is fully laid to rest. Looks like near the end, Lady Rodante brawled with her rival Agada and gained the trait severely injured and wounded, but other than that it went well. Here we go, we can evangelize the pagans once again. Where are we sending them this time? Evangelizing the Normans, amazing. Which king is this exactly? Transoxiana over here. This is a very unique one. He is a conqueror, a Satru and Norman in land where he is the only Asatru and I can find no other Normans. If we can make him Orthodox, that would just be another twist in his tale. I don't know what's going on over there. I've also been revoking some vassals from Egypt here to hand over to Nubia, because if we actually look at the kingdom titles itself, Egypt is just continuing to drive down along the south here, and I want to try and keep the kingdoms that I've given as de jure as possible. I don't want any king to grow like disproportionately strong past his borders. Everybody else seems to be relatively okay in size though. This is just, wait, this is the theme of Bulgaria? That's like the whole kingdom. That's a very powerful theme you have there. It'd be a shame if I put my cousin in control and retired you instead, wouldn't it? Oh, sorry about that. Sorry about that. It is good to keep an eye on this though, because technically he held 2 duchies inside of Bulgaria there. And they're still relatively strong. The land over here should be Moesia, but it's fine, it'll be okay. We cleared land for a legendary shrine a while ago too and never built it. Let's get that going as well. That is almost a legendary building in pretty much all of our holdings now. Uncle is in line for Fezan. Is Daniel going for Egypt? No, it's just his skills and level of influence that's put him there into 6th. He's not actually trying to gain that title, which is fine. He is 82 though, what a life. He's currently traveling too. Maybe he's not actually retiring. Where is he going over here? He's going to Antioch. Could be a pilgrimage of some sort. I am now 10 years old. We're going to meet our peers and see if we can make any friends and hopefully no rivals. I realize that I'm heterosexual. Okay. So I just got notification that one of my vassals here, the King of Sicily, has created a cadet branch called House Konops. I was about to say this is the first time it's happened, but it isn't. There's 4 other houses. There's Angelos Srebrenik, there's Angelos Batumi, and now Konops as well. Look at this. Every single person you see here in front of you all started with our first character, Basilius Justinian III. House Angelos, toward eternal glory. You can usurp the Emirate of Baghdad. My vassals are still going absolutely crazy over here. Another sermon. It's time to pick up another trait. This time it is between zealous and sadistic. I think sadistic just makes no sense at all. Zealous definitely does though. This is also quite nice. Another +2 martial, monthly piety. Different faith's opinion will not be as good, but that's not really an issue considering most of the land we're even going to claim is already Orthodox. My belief in God will never falter. It is time for me to meet my peers. There are a bunch of children from all throughout the realm, including children from House Konops here, which is interesting to see, as well as some other daughters of lords. My learn language scheme has also been successful, so we have learned the East Slavic language, and every zealot vassal has gained 10 opinion of us for learning a language. We actually already speak the Oil Vulgar here, I assume because that is where our mother is from. So we now speak the Oil Vulgar, Greek, as well as East Slavic. What else would make sense to learn? Probably the Czech Slovian here. Might help with vassalization later. My half-sister Bridget here is going to marry off into House Pala for an alliance with them. Don't think we'll ever use it, but not every marriage has to be matrilineal either. Now, we could gain a crush on this girl here. I don't think we will, though, considering she's technically from a cadet branch of our house. So instead, I'm going to say, no, that's silly. Let's play chess. We will gain singular focus, -5 general opinion, but another +1 learning. 31 learning at the age of 11. I don't even want to know how we're going to look when we become an adult. Now, our acclaimed knight Bosporios here wants to teach us the basics in handling a sword. I'm going to say absolutely. 80% chance our prowess increases by 1. We pick up the basics. It's now market day. I could attempt to actually purchase a ware. 96% chance our stewardship increases by 1, and we convince him as well. And that's it. Every guest gained 20 opinion of us, and we have gained 150 prestige. Very nice indeed. We can now also create the Duchy of Normandy. Amazing. Let's create this and hand it off. And also the Duchy of Upland. This is how vast our empire is. We're creating themes left, right, and center. Shout out to my vassals in Normandy, though. They literally picked up a county or 2 over here when it was randomly part of a kingdom I went for, and they managed to secure the entire theme. Evangelizing the Normans has also been successful, so the King of Transoxia is now converted to Orthodox, as well as his close family and vassals, and we have gained another Holy Legend Seed. So now, not only is Orthodox absolutely dominating Western Europe, but if we actually look across the imaginary line we've created, there's some Orthodox up here inside of Tengri, as well as inside Maturity here as well. We can usurp the Kingdom of Finland now. Amazing. Let's do that. Why not? I've converted the theme of Savo here to administrative, so you can now also indeed have the despotate of Finland. Enjoy that. Oh god, I've gained the trait ill. I'm only ill. Do no more than what's necessary. You are an amazing personal physician. A little brighter. Excellent work. Reduce disease symptoms. This is incredible. The theme of Languedoc here, forget the pronunciation, but the Strategos here is going to war against the HRE for the Kingdom of Aquitaine. He wants the whole thing. Honestly, he may even be in with a chance here too. The HRE is severely weakened. They are fighting against a Catalan Orthodox uprising, defending against my other vassal over here who's going for Croatia. He is winning this, however, and does have quite a few allies. So maybe these wars are not the best idea, but eventually we'll be sweeping in to take all the land we want anyway. As a matter of fact, it could even be good timing for me to go for the Kingdom of Bavaria here. Now, ironically, we'll leave out the one piece of land we need to restore Rome, but if we can go in here and deal with the Holy Roman Empire army, our vassal should take care of Croatia, we'll get another kingdom out of it, and then we reassert the Holy Mission, we can go again for Germany. Not to mention that meanwhile, the Strategos over here is going for Aquitaine. Let's do it, let's do it. They're super weak at the moment, it's our best chance. All the build-up, all the reinvestment in the holdings, working towards getting that maximum income, it was all for this. The ability to have 21,000 troops on the field and still make over 100 gold a month. And we catch this army that is being led by the ruler. Imagine if we just caught him in the battle and then we were able to get 100%. Amazing, we've lost the trait ill as well. That's tremendous news. How is this battle gonna finish? Okay, 25%. We didn't capture him, but we did win at the very least. And everything is happening. Royal Prerogative Innovation is now finished. That is amazing news. What do we want next? Oh, never mind. I can't decide. I think because I'm still a child, the current culture head is actually Lukas, the Proud of Croatia here. So we can't even decide what's happening next. But at least we have Royal Prerogative. We may look into increasing our Imperial bureaucracy to level 3. The vassals all won't like it very much. We will get some more tax. And non-admin vassals cannot wage war unless they use a hook on their liege. The thing is though, we are so centralized and so powerful, I'm not overly concerned about my vassals waging war. Even, for example, if we look at the actual administration itself, the war declaration, at level 2, we can make it such that only frontier and naval provinces can wage external wars. Now, maybe that would make sense, and then we'd be a lot more stringent with who we actually make frontier and naval vassals, for who we actually want to expand and who we don't want to expand. But look at how much my vassals have taken over here inside the Holy Roman Empire, over in Scandinavia. That's all been because they weren't limited in who they could go to war with. So I like having this option, but I'm not sure we'll actually use it yet. Another successful scheme here, and we have learned Czech Slovian. Now, I'm going to try and end this war quickly if I can. I'm actually going to kind of make a beeline towards the capital, see if we can capture somebody of interest to try and just finish this. Now, my first ever plague named after me is starting to spread very close to the capital. I am super happy with how Theodosius is turning out. I do not want to have him die. I am going to enter seclusion. It is best for me and best for the realm in the long term. We are going to get secluded, which is not fantastic, but it's much better than death. So our region has actually changed to become our sister, Kale of Jerusalem, but we only have about 4 more years until we're an adult. So once we keep the scales of power down, we should be fine. And we did get mild epidemic prevention for this incoming plague as well. I am also going to start the spiritual triumph of orthodoxy. I can't actually do it for myself yet, so we will do it in the name of my father. We will create this, and then hopefully we can get this finished at mythical level quality, so that when we take this kingdom, we can reassert the Holy Mission to go for another holy war and convert any land in it that isn't currently orthodox. Still no sight of the Holy Roman Empire's army since we beat them. I suspect they are likely grouping up with other allies. Strategos taken prisoner. The King of Africa is now in prison. What is happening here? He is losing in a holy war. Excuse me? Oh, it's not a holy war. It's just a war for Lady Iva's claim. She's Orthodox as well. That's perfectly fine. I think he's incapable at the moment. Yeah, he is. This is probably for the best, to be honest. Ah, we found the army. They're gathering over here. There we go. Once again, a Byzantine emperor has captured the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire. In this case, we've done it at only 13. 100% in force demands. Thank you very much. That is what we like to see. Let's grant some of this land away. Thankfully, because it was a holy war, we now control all of it. Look at us now, 43 out of 11 holdings. There we go, that's all the land taken. We'll likely form this into a kingdom eventually. We have lots of different kingdoms around it. I don't want, say, Bohemia or Croatia to just kind of start taking these lands, so we'll probably turn this into a kingdom. Amazingly, Croatia didn't manage to win their war for the last bit of Croatia that we need. So there's bits of the Holy Roman Empire here that we need to restore with the Roman Empire, bits of them here where they have their capital, and then the rest of them. But we are encroaching to bits. Now, I am also going to have every courtier possible on spreading the legend chance. I want to get this maxed out as soon as possible. That is very expensive. It takes our gold down to almost half of what it was, but it's going to be worth it long term. Once that finishes, we get it to mythical and complete it, we'll be going for another kingdom against the HRE. Here's an interesting one. We are peeking through a small gap in the door and we see our two courtiers getting up to something. We can either gain the trait lustful and get a crush on the woman, just become lustful, or gain the trait chaste. This is an interesting one. Lustful would be very useful. We do want as many kids as possible. We don't want to end up in a scenario we ended up in before of not having a son. It is sinful to orthodox, however, which is non-ideal. Alternatively, we take chaste. This is virtuous to orthodox, but could become an issue when it comes to having kids. As much as I would like to become lustful though, Theodosius is technically zealous and learning is his highest trait. So he actually strikes me as a rather religious young man, so I actually think he's more likely to become chaste. We can always do things to increase our fertility later if needed. I think we'll go for this one and pick up a virtue. Despite being in isolation, we've picked up the Red Plague anyway. Oh boy, smallpox, not good at all. At death's doorstep, do no more than what's necessary. Reduce disease symptoms. Okay, no longer at death's doorstep at least. Please let us get over this. Don't make me die at 13. How ironic would that be? After all of that, Daniel comes to power at 85 anyway. Now, the investment in our legacy is paying off. We can increase it to level 2 now, and once we get it to 300 baronies, we'll get it to mythical and complete it, and then we're free to go to war with the HRE once again. Now, the plague has passed, so I can successfully emerge from seclusion now. Glad to be back. Once again, I've inherited a war I wasn't aware of. It's always these counties over here. Let's raise the army and deal with it. Thankfully, I'm not doing anything else, and we are already winning it. There we go. That's this war dealt with. Thank you. I think it's another duchy we've picked up as well. To be fair to Arabia, we gave them the kingdom title when we had just a few counties. Our legitimacy was so high, we were able to just create it and gift it to them anyway. And they have basically taken the whole thing for themselves. The fact that this is just a kingdom is kind of crazy. How big is the empire? Like, the Arabian Empire is just what's down here. He's borderline ready to make it himself. Hopefully, we can make it ourselves, and then it'll be part of the Roman Empire when we restore it. Somehow we picked up the Pilgrim trait. All we did was build a legendary shrine over here, but I don't know why that counts as us being a pilgrim. So we've actually become overwhelmed with stress because our sister died. I think she was actually killed because found out that she had a son out of wedlock. But I'm going to try and push through for now. I don't want to pick up a negative trait early. We can go on some hunts and things and deal with the stress. As a matter of fact, once we get the gold we need, I'll probably even hold a funeral for her. That should help quite a bit. Look at this for notifications. Look at this. This is what I'm dealing with in between cuts. Okay, we're going to hold a funeral for our sister. Hopefully this will help us with some stress loss. Nice to see that the new king, or queen I should say, of Africa is going to war with the HRE for their lands in North Africa. We love to see that. Russia is broken. Russia has absolutely split apart into a million pieces, and we have already started to offer vassalizations left, right, and center up here. Coming of age, we are officially a man. With the help of Hodorine and the university, I have achieved an understanding of diplomacy that far exceeds that of any of my peers. Even though I had a natural inclination towards the subject, my mastery of it is still an achievement. Basilius Theodosius, you are a man now, and we have gained the trait Charismatic Negotiator for another +6 into diplomacy. This is how we look now that we are a man. We are ambitious, zealous, chaste, Grey Eminence. Didn't that just say that we were like the tier below? Anyway, consecrated blood, born in the purple, pilgrim, drunkard. When did we become a drunkard? I don't remember this at all. I guess Maybe while we were at university in the background, we became a drunkard. And we are intelligent. Fair enough. It's not the worst trait in the world. Bit of a tiny health penalty and a reduction in stewardship. But other than that, we look tremendous. 40 learning, 21 intrigue, 28 stewardship, 17 martial, and 34 diplomacy. Let's immediately end the entrenched regency. We can offer nothing and they will accept. Amazing. I'm going to pick up the foreign affairs focus here, and we're likely going to head down the August tree, mainly for the true ruler with the upper vassalization acceptance. That's going to be super important. Typically, I would go into stewardship. We are currently in debt because I've been creating kingdoms over here. We actually managed to create the Kingdom of Lithuania. We can create Estonia as well, for example. Lots of titles to create, but there's also a perk we can get inside diplomacy that will make that cheaper too. And it looks like they are going for Croatia again, which is great to see. Surely they'll be successful this time. Surely. We have him surrounded already. That is the funeral finished. We will lose some more stress. We will go down a level. We're still pretty high though. We'll need to keep an eye on that. Because we picked up Drunkard randomly, I think we have now -1 domain holdings, which is fine. We can give away a city. Not a big deal. It is annoying that we're a drunkard though. I don't know where that came from. I suppose it can just happen when you become an adult, but fair enough. Now it is time to do what I said we wanted to do at the very beginning and dismantle the papacy. Let the Vatican burn. After centuries being belittled and deceived by their missionaries, the followers of God have finally taken their revenge upon the followers of the Christ God. In the face of our undeniable religious supremacy, ex-Pope Hadrianus has even publicly recanted the Catholic faith and converted to Orthodoxy. Their dead God could not protect them after all. The papacy has been destroyed. We are officially the culture head once again, and I think innovations wise, our next focus, let's finish coinage. We'll boost it just so that it happens in just a year. We'll get the coinage rights granted. Vassal contract, not really relevant, but the development growth plus 10% is quite nice. On top of that, we can also now reform Greek, so we can actually establish a new tradition. I'm going to have a look in here, see which one makes the most sense for us. We are going to be drowning in actual prestige this run, especially with the diplomacy focus. Great opportunity to add in another benefit in here. But a spoiler here is I'm likely going to take by the sword for no limit to the number of kingdom level holy wars that can be declared. But I will do that in the next episode. I want to see what you guys think in case there's one that I'm missing that's actually very powerful. With that, I'm going to leave this episode here. We are slightly in debt, but once we actually gain up some gold, we can immediately hold a chariot race, fill up the coffers. Then we'll be able to upgrade and finish our spiritual triumph of orthodoxy, re-establish the holy mission, or just reform the culture to get unlimited versions, and then finish off the Holy Roman Empire to dismantle the German pretenders. In the meantime, I'm kind of hoping that the vassals continue to expand out, maybe pick up another empire or two, so that that will also be de jure part of the Roman Empire. Thank you all so much for watching, and again for 1,000 subscribers. Special shout out to all of our channel members who are choosing to support the channel, and of course a massive shout out to our Emperor's Hands, Faustbread, and Spencer Roberts. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you all in the next video.